Yo, we're back with our boy from London town, Billy Body, with the hot news. What do you got? Boom.
Yeah, so I got a big story this week, and something has already developed from it today. So, Disco, did you see me accidentally post this on the Lock Betting Patreon?
Yes, you did. The Stephanie McMahon story. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, like I wrote the whole story out and ended up writing it on Lock Betting. Yeah. So I had to just schedule it and then copy and paste it and send it over to the Dirty Sheets. So that's what ended up happening. But yeah, this was released yesterday. So I'll read it out and then we'll talk about what happened today, because this is a part of it. So the story is, understandably, many people speculated that by Stephanie McMahon taking over as interim CEO, Vince McMahon would continue to run things and his daughter would simply be acting as a mouthpiece. That isn't the case, according to various sources. There's a feeling within the WWE that both Stephanie and Triple H are on somewhat of a mission statement, I've put statement mission, having had both of their roles reduced by Vince McMahon over the past 12 to 18 months, who has favoured bringing in various Nick Khan recommended hires. Despite Vince McMahon having final say over creative, the past few weeks have seen Stephanie McMahon and Triple H hold talks with Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Tyson Fury, and Conor McGregor, sign Legends deals with Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, and Scott Hall's estate, install Shawn Michaels as lead booker of NXT 2.0, with Triple H returning to the show as producer, push for several planned SummerSlam matches to be moved to Clash of the Castle to rejuvenate faltering ticket sales in order to avoid ending the UK pay-per-view initiative. Now, part of that is SummerSlam is currently configured to sell 38,000 tickets. So they'll make once the configuration is hit, which they're about 1,000 away from, they'll make a decision as to whether they want to release 10,000 more tickets and where. At the moment, they've almost sold out like 60% of the building. The way they're doing that is by selling out the two end zones and one whole side of the pitch. So basically, if you're sitting on the hard cam side at the moment, there's nobody around you in the hard cam section. So they've not sold that half of the pitch. So the way it's configured is that the people who have got the best seats, the ones that have got a complete straight view of the ring, they're going to be staring at all empty seats on the other side. So obviously you'll never see that on camera, but at the moment that's the plan, because they're moving.
Okay, that's not interesting. You keep going. To go to the next thing. We used to block off seats all the time to be empty. That's not a big deal. That's just configuration stuff.
Yeah, but it's people looking at half an empty building from one side of the arena.
That's happened. That's happened. That's commonplace in wrestling sometimes. What you see on TV is not the actual vision in the building.
Okay,
we do that constantly.
It's not commonplace to book a 70,000 stadium and then decide that you've got two stadium shows within the space of 5 weeks, and one of them's really bad. So you want to kind of shift focus from one to the other. It's not normal to just say we'll push for 38,000 and see where we're at, because you shouldn't really be booking stadiums if this is what you're going to do.
But they'll make it look fine on TV. That's not So it's just like, that's just for the it's really not that big of a deal.
I never said it was. I'm just reading out the list.
All right, go ahead.
Engage with disgruntled second-tier partners. So these are non-TV partners such as Mattel and 2K to improve future relationships.
Why are they disgruntled?
Because WWE released a load of talents that are on video games.
Oh, that are on their games. Yeah, right.
That have action figures coming out without any correspondence with the partners. Like, they just continue to do things where people are invested in talents.
I wonder if they're going to hire Crossback. I wonder if they're going to hire some people back that they got rid of. If Vince is kind of like out of the picture, Stephanie and Hunter are in charge.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm getting to. So this is a big change. The last one, improve the variety of house show merchandise available. Something talent have complained about for a long time, subsequently resulting in a huge weekend for Liv Morgan. Now, this is just the list of stuff that I got. Now, today we've seen them go from PG to TV 14. Now, this has been in the works for a while. The idea of going to PG was to go PG for 10 years. The thinking within the WWE is that we always need to create new fans. And once we build that base of fans, that we need to grow up with them. Now WWE have identified a significant loss of fans at the teenage age. So this age of 12 to 18 is the biggest drop off where people stop watching WWE. They're actually holding pretty well. Anyone over 21, the best age group they hold on to is the over 40s, and they are continuing to grow down at the bottom. The worst fan base where they lose the most people, where people just stop watching wrestling, is when they become teenagers. So this is what the idea was. The idea is to let's grow old with these fans. Let's develop the product like they did with me. The Attitude Era hit at exactly the right time. The Attitude Era hit when I was 14, 15 years old, just at a time where I was thinking, why am I watching this? I could have easily stopped if it wasn't for the Attitude Era. So I'm not saying there's going to be another Attitude Era, but they're trying to take steps to make sure that they stop losing 11-year-olds, which is what they're doing consistently at the moment. So this was always in the works, but it's been put off and put off and put off and put off. And now Stephanie and Hunter are there. This has happened. So the real story here, to give it a title as such, is that Stephanie is really running WWE. Like, it's not Vince in the background and he put her there to be the mouthpiece. She was voted in. The relationship with Vince, Triple H, and Stephanie has not been good for the last 12 to 18 months. And now they're out to prove something. So everybody that said otherwise 4 weeks ago was wrong. This is not that's not what's happening. This is happening.
They're talking to Conor McGregor?
Yeah. They talked to Conor McGregor. They also talked to Tyson Fury, and they talked about Jake Paul, and they talked to Jake and Logan. So maybe Jake will be doing something to promote his own fight.
Is Conor going to be? How did the talks with Conor go?
Well, nothing's happening. So right. it's the fact that they want to do these things. The problem with Conor McGregor is his size and what they're gonna do with him, because he's talked about WWE multiple times about
but he's put him over too, though. He put over Vince. You know, he's called him the OG, you know, and stuff, everything like and all that. So he's like, bro, he's a combat fighter that, you know, makes fun of wrestling. They're going to do that, you know. So I don't think that's I wouldn't see that as a deal breaker. You know, he's a massive get if they get him. You know.
Well, these two are setting up talks like left and right. Like these two are working constantly, like collectively. Right. And are changing things and are making the talents a lot more happier. Like, this merchandise thing is so old. Like, I've heard wrestlers complain to me so many times. They've said I always get this phone call all the time, and every time I go to a show, I get a text or a call from a couple of wrestlers, and they always say to me, "What merchandise was there? Can you send me pictures of the merchandise stand?" And I'm like, "Well, why?" And it's always the same thing. It's like, I want to see how many T-shirts I had. I want to see how many pictures I had. I want to see how much of my stuff is there. And they always complain like there's none of their shit. Like there's been a John Cena T-shirt on sale at every single house show since 2004, and it's still the case now. But like Drew McIntyre as champion could get only one T-shirt, at a time. So yeah, constantly this is an issue, and they've addressed it.
Well, but I'll be honest with you, it's kind of a weird story, okay? Because when we used to go to shows, you know, you're there for it, you know, sometimes hours before you get there before the doors open, quite often, and I would just walk up and walk around the building. You can walk up and look at the merch stands yourself, you know. Right. So I don't know. That's kind of weird. It's weird that you get that they're. I guess that maybe, you know what, actually maybe these guys they're opening the doors because sometimes for the house shows you gotta get there an hour beforehand. TVs is 8 hours, you know. So maybe they're getting there an hour beforehand, and you can't. Yeah, they've already opened the doors. They don't want guys going down the crowd. So
WWE don't sell their own merch. Like they have
vendors,
an independent company that distribute and sell it for them, that bring it to the shows and organize it and everything. So I think I forget what it's called, but I've spoken to them before. They're pretty bad.
What else you got?
Yeah, no, that's the main thing this week. There isn't really that much going on as we head towards SummerSlam. There's matches that are going to be announced here and there, but it's nothing you're going to be interested in, really. So, I mean, we're looking at that. We're looking at the.
Then they changed it. I read they changed around the SummerSlam card and the Castle card. They added some.
I just
but what matches did they like? What got changed?
Okay, so I think they're going to move stuff like Edge and Balor, because Balor's like a British guy, and I think they're going to move the Edge
to the Castle show, right?
To the Castle. I think they're going to move the Ronda Liv Morgan singles match to the Castle and try and just get a triple threat out of the match at SummerSlam, things like that.
Right.
I think they're going to move like the more significant, outcome. But obviously, they've got Brock and Roman on top, so I think.
When is the Castle show? What's the date on that?
The 3rd of September.
So SummerSlam is in 2 weeks, and 6 weeks later is the Castle show then. Yeah,
and I think it's the. This is the second time in a row I've been to 2 pay-per-views.
When are they going back to Saudi Arabia?
The one after, I believe, one after that.
And then that's like say October, November. So now we're getting close to Rumble time, then, huh?
January.
So it's Castle, SummerSlam Castle show, that Saudi show, and then you got. Wait, is Survivor Series still a thing? Do they still do that?
Yeah, Survivor Series is still happening.
When is that? In November? That's like Thanksgiving around, right?
That's in November. I'm just trying to find. So this Saudi show is on November the 5th.
So when is the Survivor Series, or is the Saudi show going to be a Survivor Series show?
No, the Survivor Series is currently 2 weeks after the Saudi show, and I think it's in Boston. I think.
Interesting. Yeah, they got a lot of big shows coming up.
Yeah, well,
then October Extreme Rules is in Philadelphia, October 8th.
Yeah, and so Roman Reigns is not doing Extreme Rules, and he's not doing Survivor Series.
Right.
So that tells you where Survivor Series is at now.
And is the plan still? I mean, it's still going to be Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania? Is that the plan?
That's the plan, but like,
does The Rock going to kind of maybe because it's bad PR from the WWE, is he going to bail out of that?
That's a weird situation at the moment, because there is the feeling that Cena came back to work, and then Cena suddenly didn't have the insurance from the what's the superhero he is? What's the superhero he plays? It's not for a movie. It's for the TV show.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
It's Peacemaker. Peacemaker.
Yeah.